Fitness was something that, that sparks the excitement for us for this particular product.
For us, what has worked is like we have very independent roles, and we have that trust among us कि if somebody is taking a lead on something, it's their final call.
So वो एक जो बेस है ना फ्रेंडशिप का, that is so strong कि we know कि कितनी भी लड़ाई हो जाए, पता है शाम को चाय पीने साथ में ही जाने वाले हैं.
Yeah, so for us it was like kind of seeing the gap in the market and something where if we build something, we'll have an advantage over other players.
So having a gym with a semi-personal trainer at your home versus going to the gym and working out with a trainer. So just having this machine at your home will save you at least half an hour per workout.
So there is no equipment that is specifically designed for home. A single piece of equipment that lets you do almost everything in a holistic manner, right? Without any compromises.
In everybody's defense, gym business is very hard to crack, right? In India specifically, where
Welcome to Masters Decoded Season 4. What was your wake-up call? What got you to all of this?
Honestly,
how do you overcome self-doubt?
so first and foremost,
How do you do that emotional quotient? How do you bring that up?
If you are a fitness freak and are thinking of starting a fitness company, then you should not miss today's podcast. This is the first time where I'm getting 3 co-founders together on the same platform, which is your favorite platform, Masters Decoded. Today, I will be joined by Aman, Rohit, and Anurag from Aroleap, an innovative fit tech company in India, and is creating some amazing storm using their innovative product which they have introduced. I am completely awe of their journey and the product they have introduced to the Indian market. And how did they come up with the product? What was their journey and what it takes to build a fit tech company? You should not miss this show. So without much further ado, let me get on with it.
Hi Rohit, Aman, Anurag on Masters Decoded Season 4 podcast. Really glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thanks
Anis.
for having us.
Glad to be here.
No, this is the first I've had 2 founders on the show. This is the first time I'm talking to 3. So this is the first. So I'm really excited to have you on the show today. And before we started recording, I was telling you why am I excited more. But before we get started, and get to know what you all do, how the 3 of you all met? Anybody wants to pick it up first and say how the
Right.
3 of you all met?
So we know each other since more than 10 years.
Okay.
12 years, I guess, since so we went to the same school,
Okay.
then same coaching, and then same college, and then we parted ways for our jobs for like 1.5 years. Then we started Aroleap together again.
Nice. So Anurag and Aman and Rohit, I'm going to put you all in a spot. How old are you all?
27 years. all three.
Nice.
Yeah.
So born in the same year, all 3 of you.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Don't tell me in the same months or any of that, right?
No, nothing like that.
Luckily, no. Yeah.
All
Okay.
3 different months.
And did you all grow up in Bangalore only or did you all grow up somewhere else?
No, we are from this small town called Bhilai in Chhattisgarh.
Okay. So all 3 of you are from Bhilai, Chhattisgarh.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Nice.
We went to the same school, so like from class 5 we have known each other. But yeah,
Okay. So, what got you all back together?
I mean, I guess we never left. So it was, we went like when we were in college also, like we were like
We had the same
we knew each other, so
group, same friends group, so
yeah,
we hung out
so we had the
together all
same
the
friends
time.
group. Yeah, so it was, and all of us wanted to do something of our own. So even when we were doing our day jobs, we stayed connected. We kept discussing ideas and all. And so that is how we came together. We knew we had to do something together. It's just like initially it wasn't clear what it was.
So Rohit, what job were you doing? And Aman, what were you doing? And Anurag. So let's go with Rohit first. Rohit, what was the company you were working for?
Yeah, so after college, I joined a startup called Nimble Labs. So actually after college, I stayed back in college, worked for a couple of months there, trying to build something of my own. So basically trying to do a startup there. but that sort of didn't work out. So after a couple of months, 5 to 6 months, then I joined a startup called Nimble Labs, and that
Okay.
was based out of Bangalore, working in automation in a kitchen. So how do you make a robot that can cook food for you?
Nice.
So yeah, I was into that, and then I started. Aman?
So I was working with this company called GlaxoSmithKline.
Yeah. GSK.
So I was in GSK's consumer health division. I worked there for about 1.5, 2 years, and then
Bangalore or Mumbai?
No, I was in Delhi NCR.
Okay.
And then GSK Consumer Healthcare got acquired by Hindustan Unilever Limited. So I took on a slightly larger role at HUL for about a year and a half. And after that, I had a very short stint with a startup called Urban Company. And then after that, when we raised capital, I joined Aroleap full time.
Nice.
Yeah, so so after college, I briefly worked in this startup called Property Pistols. It's a real estate startup, and my role there was in the strategy team. But while I was there, I got convinced that that I want to start something of my own, and I want to start a company which builds a tech product. But my background was not in tech, so my degree was biochemical engineering from IIT Delhi. So, but when I was convinced that I want to start a tech company one day, then the other logical thing is that I need to know tech. So I quit that job, and then I, learned computer science all through the internet. And then Aroleap happened within a year. So, yeah.
Nice. So, Anurag, you were talking about there were many ideas being discussed, right? After college, you all were working, but there were many ideas you all were contemplating on. What were the other ideas apart from Aroleap?
Rohit, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so basically it was so AI side we were looking into, can we get conversational AI in somehow in the hospitals where note taking is a big thing for doctors. Having a good history is something that in India is not being followed at all. A patient history. So is there something that we can help with that? And similar to that, there were multiple ideas.
So there is one thing into this that in my family there are a lot of doctors, and I've seen this thing firsthand that writing prescriptions एक तो बहुत गंदा लिखते हैं सब, और for them also it's something that they would want to get away with कि ऐसे थोड़ा ज़्यादा easier method हो. So we were looking into that space, but then उस समय we also realized कि उस समय इस तरीके का कुछ बनाने के लिए there was जो टेक रिक्वायर्ड था, टेक का स्किल रिक्वायर्ड था, वो बहुत हाई था, and we didn't have that. And also आज की डेट में to build something like that is much easier because of
It's like a child's play, right?
yeah. But around 4-5 years back it was quite tough. So अगर खुद का पूरा scratch से बनाना है, so we skipped that, and yeah, we discussed a few more. One was in the artist space.
What was in the artist space?
So the I don't remember exactly what we discussed, but it's mostly like a social network. Yeah, sure, Aman, you can take that.
I can take a shot at that, and you guys can correct me if I can remember correctly. But basically, we were trying to figure out, is there a scope to create a marketplace for conventional artists, like let's say painters, etc. And can we find demand for them? Because today, art is not really appreciated other than very closed niche circles. So let's say if I want to get my a wall of my house painted of my room, right? But I want to, let's say, source an artist, a painter for that. And I don't want that to be a conventional painter who comes from one of these large companies. I want a custom design. So can I go to a marketplace and source that? Similarly, if I'm having a house party, can I source a guitarist who can come and play for the small gathering, and we can bond and chill, etc. So that was the marketplace idea.
So all three are amazing ideas, right? And I don't know if people are going to be young founders are going to be listening to this and they will say, "यार ये अच्छी idea, चलो उसका startup बना लेते," right? But how did Aroleap come up, right? Where did this hardware plus software, because बाकी जो भी ideas थी पहले तो were very software centric, Now the ideas, and when I look at Aroleap, it's completely different. It's much bigger, and it's much more complicated in that sense. So how did that come about?
So yeah, so I think I can just start, and then Rohit, you can tell the exact
Yeah.
how did
Sure,
it start.
sure.
So among the team, we had the right expertise for the fitness knowledge. So Aman here is an ultra marathoner, and he is the fitness freak among us. All of us are into fitness, but Aman is like the fitness freak, and he can run like 160 kilometers in one go.
Wow.
So yeah. So we had the right expertise of fitness.
Aman, have you done that 160 kilometers in one go?
So I recently did a 100-miler in Jaisalmer. So that was my first 100-miler. But before that, I have done a couple of 100 kilometers and 72K in the past. So I've only ran 4-5 ultra marathons.
You generally you don't say only with that. Yeah. Only is not the word you should be using with ultra marathons, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a tremendous respect for people who do ultra marathon. I'll give you a little bit, two things I'll share. You can see how big am I, right? So my biggest feat or my bucket list was that I take part in marathon, by the way. And this year I was able to do it in rerun. I don't know if you were there in Bombay Marathon, Aman, but I participated in the dream run and I felt like a winner because I have problems with my leg as well. So, that's a different day, different story for that. But I took part and and that got me motivated. And today I walk 7 kilometers every day. So I'm not saying I'm a fitness freak, but I'm trying to get better at my health now. But nevertheless, going back to that story, Anurag, you were saying that Aman is a fitness freak. You all are all fitness freak. So did fitness was the common thing which kind of got Aroleap to come about?
Yeah,
or
so
was there
definitely fitness was something that that sparks the excitement for us for this particular product. कि ये बनाते हैं मजा आएगा. Something that we can personally use and solve the problem for ourselves. So जब हम लोग when we started our jobs, so all of us were into some or the other fitness activities, but that took a toll. So I used to go to the gym, but job वगैरह चालू करने के बाद it became a little tough.
Yeah.
So and then when we started to look for solutions कि घर पे what is the best we can do. So अगर full-fledged gym बनाना है, so that costly तो होता ही है, but उसके अलावा we need multiple equipments, we need a lot of space, and then again the knowledge of what to do, how to do, that is also lacking for many people. So so that is definitely a big motivation कि हमारा problem solve हो रहा है, and then again it's a tech product, so there is a lot of excitement to it. So but the thing that I was saying was that we had the very right skill set to build this thing. That Aman had the fitness expertise, Rohit had the hardware expertise, and I had the software expertise. So it was like it was the right mix of skill set and passion. Just say it was very clear that we should give this a shot and build this.
Okay. So before we continue, for the benefit of the audience, can you all share your own roles? So let's start with Aman first. Aman, what's your role in the company?
So I am the Chief Operating Officer. So I take care of operations and content primarily.
Okay. Rohit?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO. Mainly, I look after the mechanical design of it, the design side of the product, as well as looking after the manufacturing.
Nice. And Anurag?
Yeah, so I'm the CTO and I take care of the software side of the product.
Nice. How did these roles come about? ये दोस्ती यारी में, but how did the roles? अच्छा तुम CEO बन जाओ, तुम CEO बन जाओ. Like how did that happen?
So I think it was very natural for us. Like before Aroleap, I was in a job that required a lot of hands-on operations and stuff like that. Plus, that's a different way of just saying that I did not have a very strong hard skill. And Anurag was clearly a techie. Rohit knew how to manufacture, and he has been great at robotics since college. So it was more of a natural inclination. So we fit the mold. We had complementary skill sets. So we essentially assumed the role without much discussion about.
Very interesting. Now, दोस्ती यारी एक साइड पे होती है, right? And I know it's going to be a touchy topic, and don't mind me guys asking this question. When you're friends, you're having fun, all that is different, right? You may have difference of opinions, you may have difference of thoughts, but दोस्ती यारी में वो सब we let it out. But when it comes to business, it becomes very different. So, and I have seen in my own friend circle, people who've come together to do business, things have really not worked out. And in fact, it has spoiled the friendship to a great extent. So, how do you all balance that aspect and ensure that, the personal life and the professional life don't come together or don't kind of spoil each other? Rohit?
So I think for us, what has worked is So for us, what has worked is like we have very independent roles, and we have that trust among us. Ki if somebody is taking a lead on something, it is their final call. So that has always been true throughout the thing. Even if I'm the CEO, if Aman is taking a business decision, it's his final call. He gets to take that. Same for software with Anurag, same for mechanical with me. So it never clashed in that way. Ki we always have a difference of opinion of what is the best way forward there. But like once you know ki if somebody is taking the lead, let them make the call.
Right.
And second thing is even when you fight, it's fundamentally that you care about that point a lot. So if say for example, I am bugging Anurag on some software feature he's not implementing, I'll keep bugging him, and it gives the same way other way around. So if there's some problem with mechanical, Aman will keep bugging me till I solve that. But it's not ki we are fighting, it's just more ki he cares about that problem a lot. So then you have to account for that also. Ki if somebody is saying so much, somebody is arguing so much, it's actually something which which I might not be giving that much importance, but it might be very important to him, and then you take care of that. So that way it has worked well for us. Luckily, I don't think like we have gotten into any big fights or anything.
Yeah, and also one other thing is that so we were together, we know each other since school, and then college where we had the same social circle, so we hung out, a lot. ऐसा नहीं है कि we just knew each other, so we are just like very close. We were very close friends before this, even now. So वो एक जो base है ना friendship का, that is so strong कि we know कि कितनी भी लड़ाई हो जाए, पता है शाम को चाय पीने साथ में ही जाने वाले हैं.
Yeah.
So that helps, I guess.
And another thing is that we I don't know if you guys remember, we have worked on projects before this. So I had worked with Aman on a robotics project for like IIT Delhi's technical fest. I had worked on Anurag. I had worked with Anurag on a technical fest for Bangalore. So there we had gone together and worked on a robotics project. So we had worked together. We knew each other, how we work. So that also I think helps.
Interesting. No, kudos to you all, and the force be with you. As they say, ye yari ban ke rahe, and it doesn't come in the way of anything. And my only wishes for you all that you all continue to operate and collaborate much more better. But just switching gears, now when you look at Aroleap, Aroleap's device is not I would say the first of its kind, right? There have been variety of them in the international space. I'm sure you've heard of Mirror, which is the big device in the North America now. Lululemon has acquired them. And then there are other similar companies which have gone ahead and built their own. Then there are certain startups in India as well, which is doing a lot of fitness. And I was talking a name of a startup, which before we started recording, where did that idea of building a all-in-one kind of an equipment which can help people like us, especially people like me, to kind of get back to a fitness regime or at least start doing exercise back home?
Yeah, so for us it was like kind of seeing the gap in the market and something where if we build something, we'll have an advantage over other players. So there were a lot of options where you can actually get like a mirror kind of a device. So all those are in a way now white label product. So you can get them from China, you can put your own brand name, you can build a software layer on top of it a little bit and then start selling. But that is something that a lot of other players can do. So if Cult wants to come in tomorrow, it'll be very easy for them to replicate the same thing. So we understood we didn't want, like even though we were passionate about fitness, we did just didn't want to build another white label product. Because that is something that, again, like we were not adding any value there. Like branding and all was not our strong suit. Our strong suit was developing the tech. The other thing that we bet on when it comes to this complete home gym was digital weights was something we felt is going to be the future. So it might be in this form factor which we have developed right now. It might be in some other form factor. It might come into traditional equipments in a gym. But if you're able to develop that tech, that is something that definitely is going to be useful. And the gap was certainly there. The tech existed, as you rightly said, but the cost was exorbitantly high.
Yeah.
Right. So the play was, can you actually develop it from scratch and develop it in a cost-effective manner, which generally Indians are relatively good at. So that is what we started working on, and that is how we got nailed down this idea to begin.
Also, just to add to that, Mirror is a very different product in the sense that it doesn't have any weights. It's more of a body weight workout thing.
But there is a similar other product. I'm forgetting the name.
So there is this company called Tonal.
Yeah, Tonal. Yes.
Tonal is one company which sells this kind of product, and then there is this
tech. Yeah.
So that's a US based company, and then there is just another company which is called Spedience, which sells a similar product. And then there is this one Australian company which sells a similar product, but it has a very different form factor. So it kind of changes the way the experience. So so apart from that.
Yeah, but mechanics of digital weight and all of that, Rohit, since you are more on the robotic side and you're focusing more on the hardware side, how did that design come about? And I see your design, and that got me very excited about what you all have. Is such sleek, right? Because ek hota hai gym mein jana, right? And when you look at all the gym equipments, they are so big. And I can tell you about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when I started to caring about my own fitness, I had bought these big barbells and I had bought these weights. My family was very irritated with me, right?
Yeah.
Because in Bombay, for example, I say we stay in matchwork houses. We don't have the same luxury of Bangalore or Delhi where you have larger spaces. And I had to give it up, right? I had to again sell it back to OLX and all of that. So ये इतना sleek बनाना, ये mechanics, how did you come about at that level of that space and so sophisticated level?
Yeah. So when we decided we have to make something for the Indian market, it was like making digital weights was not just the challenge. It was something that people would want to have in their houses. So that was another aspect to it, which generally engineers ignore. So when I said I had stayed back in college, worked on a few projects. That time I had trying to make something make a startup out of it. What I understood was tech is just a very small part of it. If you have to send, it has to look good. It has to be sleek. The design has to be good. It has to have that feel-good factor. It is inspirational in that man. So that was a challenge. From the beginning itself, our initial problem statement was you should be able to install it in whatever room you like. So you can install it in your living room, you can install it in your bedroom, and it should not look like a gym equipment. So that was one huge challenge. The second was again, as you rightly said, digital weights, maybe you can make something where you have 10 different attachments and you are able to do everything, and the price point will be lower. But again, you need to have 10 different things. So you're not solving for the thing you have 10 dumbbells and barbell and all the weights. You need to solve for that. The problem statement should be very simple. There's a single equipment on which you can do almost every exercise that you can do in a gym, and it should not look like a gym equipment. So that was the thing. We have RGB LEDs at the back, and that is just an aesthetic aspect to it. Once you have that aesthetic aspect to it, what happens is it moves away from the wall, and it looks like it's floating, and it looks way thinner than what it is. Right. So that aspect also, even though it is an additional cost to us, we decided to incorporate that just because it looks so. That was very important. If you have to specifically sell in the Indian market, people feel if you just make a product that works or functions well, it will sell in the Indian market if the cost is low. And the last thing was this is not the first iteration that we did. So we sort of, the way we worked was rather than making one single product and then launching it and making thousands of units, what we did was we made a batch of 20, and instead of just testing it, we actually sold it.
Okay.
So we sold all the units. We got feedback on everything, like how is from the customer experience, not just from the customer experience, but how it is from manufacturing side, from designing side, from transportation side. And we kept doing that. So we did that for almost 10 batches. And that is how it sort of refined into this final thing that you're seeing right now.
Nice. So एक होता है बनाना design paper पे, दूसरा होता है you actually go ahead and manufacture it, right? Now, what's been your experience, and and I'll come to the software side as well, Anurag, but Rohit, specifically for you, right? Procuring these hardware components, especially in a market like India, you can go ahead and do it in China and you can import them, but then it just inflates your cost exponentially. Manufacturing it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you all are doing most of it in India itself, right? So वो banana specifications, what were those hardships or the hurdles you all had to go through?
No, so definitely, like if you compare it to China, if I go to China and work there for like 6 months or something, we'll be able to develop the prototype way faster. Just because like companies there are way more open to working with smaller companies. They're way more open to making prototypes way faster than what you do here. But again, things are getting better in India for sure. Like things are coming up. Like 10 years back, I wouldn't have been able to do this at all. But now things are getting better. So what helped us a lot was because I had worked in robotics club before. So I had that experience of working with very tight budgets, going to a vendor and crying in front of the vendor, ki let's just make 3 units for us, please. And then he won't put our parts on the machine, but we used to sit there the entire day, and by 7 o'clock he got tired and he'll put our parts. So so I had that experience ki at least if you're determined, like vendors here will do it. It'll be a little slower,
I would say.
So if you do that, vendors will do it. Like the capability is there. Like it's not like you cannot build any hardware solution. Whatever you can think internationally, all the same tolerances, all the same capabilities are there in India. You just have to find it. The other thing is in China, what happens is there's one factory where there are hundreds of machines, and you just go there and they'll make the prototype for you. In India, everything is segregated. So there'll be one guy who is working out of his garage with one single lathe machine. So you have to build a relationship with him. You have to go talk to him, and then he'll do the work for you. So that kind of challenges are there in India. But again, what helped a lot is I had worked previously in this kind of a thing, and Nimble Labs was again a very great example there, because they were also in that early stage where they were building a hardware product from scratch in India. So from there, I got to understand a little bit about Bangalore network of manufacturers. So that helped a lot. But
and we'll come to the Bangalore ecosystem in this conversation for sure. I want to double click on that. But एक होता है hardware बनाना, एक होता है equipments को खड़ा करना, right? And Anurag, now coming to you on the software side, India largely, and I was, I've been, because I'm in the space, I know a lot of programmers, a lot of individuals who develop software today or develop components of the software for larger softwares or larger ERPs and larger, today there are a lot of software being built in India also. Like Zoho is a great example, right? A complete ERP being built out of India. And there are many more such things right now coming in. But what the space you all are in, to get a programmer or to do programming, right? The other issue is, like you said, right? Computer science, you didn't do that in your graduation. You learned it on the internet. I'm sure there are a lot of people who've done that. So first is understanding the software, and the second is applying it on a hardware which is your own. What were those initial days for you?
It was very fun, I would say.
Okay.
So the thing is that I learned most of the software engineering while working on Aroleap only. So I did quit my job and started learning it, but then it's just, learning it. So when you do a course online, you get to know what how programming works. You don't really build something, which people are using. So so it was quite fun. And and the vision for the software for Aroleap. So we are not quite there yet. So, but the goal for the software side is that the hardware enables the entire gym in your home. The software should enable a personal trainer.
Nice.
Yeah. So the software should act as your personal trainer, and you should not need any other assistance at all to achieve your goals. So that is the vision, and we are still working towards it. Still not there yet.
Yeah.
So
No, and just building on to what you just said, right? Today, anybody can pick up weights and start exercising. Anybody can go ahead and do deadlifts, or they can do squats, as an example. And I have landed up into trouble, by the way, of doing a deadlift in a wrong way, or doing squats in a wrong way, and really hurt my back or really hurt my legs. And you unfortunately you realize that you're not trained, you're not medically trained or trained in a fitness way that you can go ahead and know the right posture and all of that. Now you said today the software is still not reached that vision that it has replaced, and today AI with computer vision and all of that can help you get there, but it is still not there. The models
Correct.
are not yet equipped to go ahead and real time processing, because it requires a lot of chipsets to process that go. So there is this component of the individual who's using it, their experience level of using the hardware, which is your gym equipment. Then it is your hardware which can train and attune to that. And then there is the software, like you said, it's a package which allows that. Those are the limitations which exist. So does that curtail, and probably Aman, you can also chime in, does that curtail your user group who can actually use your equipment?
Not really, because so when we started selling it, then at that time mostly our users were people who were proficient with strength training.
Yeah.
But recently, in our last last units that we have sold, we have seen many users who are absolute beginners. So even today in the software side, so we have like training modules from the very basics that you can just follow a trainer. He will guide you with the exact form on how to do it, and you don't need to think anything. You just need to follow the trainer for let's say for the first 14 days, and then you'll learn it yourself how to how to program your exercise or how to do an exercise correctly. So and also we have like very detailed instructions on how to perform a particular exercise, in which a trainer tells you what are the common mistakes that people generally do that you should avoid, which becomes very important in terms of learning how to perform that exercise. And then apart from that, the software side has many safety features, like let's say if you're lifting a weight which is much higher than what you can lift, and it detects that when you get fatigued, so it automatically reduces the weight. And then there are features like immediate resistance skill, in which if you're exercising at 75 kgs, then all you need to do is press a button to make that weight to 2 kgs. So all of these features help beginners a lot with getting started with strength training. So that is still there, but definitely right now there is a gap that the software cannot exactly correct your posture in real time.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we are building towards, and hopefully this year or by early next year we'll be able to launch those features as well, such that it becomes much more inclusive for anyone who wants to pick up strength training.
Yeah. And like you said, right? Yeah, sorry, Aman, add.
Actually, I just wanted to add just one line, that the videos or any material or any amount of verbal commentary that you give about the product will not at all do justice to the product. Yesterday, I was hosting someone who had seen almost all the videos, that we put out on social media or otherwise on the website. But he experienced the product firsthand, and he was he was in awe. He, after taking the demo, he was like, no amount of video can do justice to the actual product experience. Like even today, if you go at the gym, you will see people just moving around, doing guesswork with the kind of weight that they should lift, or they are dependent on their trainer to suggest the right weights for them, etc. Or like people, I used to take notes on my mobile phone just to remember that, okay, this is the weight on which I did a certain exercise, and the next week I want to increase it. The machine does all of that seamlessly for you, right? And I think credits to Anurag that he has designed the tracking mechanism so beautifully that you don't have to put your brain in terms of selecting weights at all, right? So like those are certain aspects of the device that are very, very user friendly, especially if you are a beginner.
Rohit, you were saying
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, so I was adding that when you said, right, ki the tech is still not there because it's computationally heavy when you want to do form correction and those kind of things. So that definitely is one part of it where when you're thinking of making a personal trainer out of a software, you think of form correction and all. But then there's another entire scientific stack of it. Ki, for example, if I have to lift weights, like if my goal is to lose weight, what is the ideal exercise that I should be doing? Like whether it should be at higher weights, lower reps, it should be lower weights, higher reps. How is my progress been? Is there a plateau coming in my progress? Because that you generally don't see, right? When you weights at a gym, it's either 12 kg or 14 kg, nothing in between. So it might take a long time for you to lift that antenna. But in our case, we are able to track your power output in each and every rep. So it looks like you might be working with 12 kgs yesterday and today, and you did 8 reps, but your power output profile was different. So there's a lot of scope with the existing tech available itself. You'll be able to bring in some kind of a guidance that was not possible even with a person present. So kind of still like there's a lot that we can still develop. That is our goal. That is what we are developing.
Aman, I want to get to you because, there's one thing which has been there as a question for me also as a buyer. And I told you all before we started recording that I had already invested in certain personal equipments at home. And now when I look at Aroleap, though it's basically a displacement and a replacement of all of them for me at home, right? May not be for a cycle, at home fitness cycle I have, but let's say for all the other weights and all of that which I have invested, it's a great replacement for that. But then the price tag, right? And I want to get to this Indian mentality, right? And we are all Indians here. I will think, okay, if I have to spend that kind of a money which Aroleap costs today, it's probably 4 or 5 years worth of my gym subscription.
Right.
Yeah.
So
How do you deal with that rebuttal coming in from a customer?
sure. So I think at this point of time, we are not focusing on customers who are comparing us to a standard gym subscription.
Yeah.
So if a customer comes to us with that question, we are almost 100% sure in our minds that the customer is not going to go ahead with the purchase, right? So at this point of time, very specifically, we target the customer who is specifically looking to set up something at home. So basically, the user is already beyond that point of decision that, okay, hey, gyms are not going to work for me. I need to have something at home. And what are the options do I have, right? So that is where we come in, saying that like Aroleap X is the easiest available option out there in the market if you want to, let's say, have a home gym.
And also, I just I can add I can add a fun way to justifying Aroleap's value. So having a gym with a semi-personal trainer at your home versus going to the gym and working out with a trainer. So just having this machine at your home will save you at least half an hour per workout. And if you're
Right.
working out for if your goal is to work out for 200 days in a year, so it saves you 100 hours. And if your value for time, for your time is 1,000 rupees per hour, then it saves you 1 lakh rupees.
Nice.
In 2 years, you have already recouped your investment.
Yeah. So talking about this 2-year piece, right? And I'm going to go a little bit deeper because, I'm thinking about it from a consumer lens perspective. The other issue which can come up is, and we have seen that in India as well, with a lot of, and I have invested in a cycle, it's a smart cycle, right? but I invested in, it's like phone. I invested in the iPhone, and next year I know that there's going to be a better version with some little bit of more features coming in. So one is the hardware. Software can be updated, right, on the equipment which you'll have, but then there is more hardware infrastructure or enhancements which can happen. So how do you balance that piece, or have a rebuttal for a consumer thinking, hey, you're going to come up with version 2.0 next year or version 3.0 next year? How are you going to balance that out? Because the customer cannot have three Aroleaps which have three different versions of it, right?
Yeah. So from our initial offering itself, it was clear that the few things that we promised the customer, they should be able to do it in the machine that they buy for the next 5 to 10 years, whatever they want to work out at. So the promise that you should be able to do almost every exercise that you can do in a gym. So then there is little scope of upgradation on the hardware end. Once you are able to achieve that promise, now all the innovation comes on the software end. Whatever amount of data we can get when you are exercising, we are able to do it from this machine. So making some hardware change there doesn't make a lot of sense. And then, as you said, like we started off with the premium segment. Everything that should be possible with the hardware, we just put it in the first machine equipment itself. So from the day one, the machine that we sold, it has almost every hardware feature that we are selling right now. And we do not have any plans for hardware upgrade, a major hardware upgrade where there will be some significant change. Right, there might be small changes here and there for the user interaction and all, but that doesn't change the fact that you'll be able to do all the exercise that you are able to do in the gym. So the technological advancement will come from the software end, which you rightly said can be done through software upgrades. Yeah.
Now, building onto this, and I just want to double click on this further, right? There is evolution happening on chipsets. And we spoke about the computational power, the physical and local computational power to allow the software to interact better with the user. At some point, you will have to think about, right? Let's say cameras coming in and observing somebody's posture and understanding whether the person is right, and to process that real-time feed. Let's take an example of Vision Pro, Apple's Vision Pro, which has come in, right, as an example, which is still, I don't know if you all have double-clicked on that equipment. It's not really pass-through of you can see your hands, right? It's cameras which is processing the real-time feed and allowing you to see your own hands or see a different person sitting in front of you. So there is that technology, hardware technology advancement, but it is not at that same Moore's law, which we all read about in our good old days, right? That the hardware is not, but it is catching up now with the AI and computer vision and all of that. Somewhere you will have to do that hardware upgrade, probably not now, in the next 3 to 5 years when the technology is that mature. Don't you think that will be something which you will have to look at, Rohit?
Yeah, sure. So from architectural point of view, what we have done is we have sort of decoupled the digital weights aspect of it and the computational aspect of it. The way that works is the tablet that you see on top of the machine, that even that is top of the machine, it is not doing a wired communication with the machine. It's doing communication via Bluetooth. And the form correction that Anurag is thinking of building, we are working towards building, that will use your own phone. So you just keep your phone on the side. So with time, when you upgrade your phone, you will upgrade that tech as well. So when you keep your phone on the side, that will connect it with the machine using Bluetooth. So the core tech that we have, which is digital weights, and the software aspect of it, how are you using that data, that is something that you are buying. And on top of it, whatever phones, tablets you want to use, you can keep using. And as that upgrade, everything can communicate with the machine through Bluetooth. So architecture-wise, that made a lot of sense. If you're right now, whatever tablet you're putting, so there is an option where you can buy the machine without the screen on top of it, and you can put your own tablet. And after say 5 years, you upgrade the tablet, your capacity will also increase to improving that tech.
Yeah. So Aman, and I want to come to you now because you are leading operations and you're driving content, right? You defined your TG, your target group, and you defined your ideal customer profile also very well. That's somebody who's over it and boss ghar mein kuch banana hai, as an example. Now, there is a lot of clutter in the space also, right? Because this space, fitness, is not new. It's not a category which is brewing. It is brewing from a interest level, but not from a equipments and all of that, right? There is enough knowledge. Now to declutter that and to create a space for Aeroleap, and there are a lot of other players already there who are building these new age infrastructure or fitness equipments for homes. How are you going about that, right? And then convincing people that the price tag is the right price tag.
Right. So actually, like this goes back to when we started figuring out what we want to build. So if you look at the home fitness equipment industry, in cardio there are hundreds of equipments and SKUs and products that are designed for home.
Yeah.
However, for strength, people continue to use products with like incremental innovation. Let's say adjustable dumbbells, or they have like some compact form of a pull-up bar, etc. So everything is just jugaad. So there is no equipment that is specifically designed for home. A single piece of equipment that lets you do almost everything in a holistic manner, right? Without any compromises. So to answer your question about how you are creating a space, actually the moment you zoom out, you clearly see this gap that we have to fill, right? So can we design a single strength training equipment that lets you do everything holistically with no compromises? So that was the idea.
But now, when you, like, let's say I'm just on the internet right now, there are a lot of videos and a lot of content you have put in also to drive that. एक होता है customer education and दूसरा होता है, but before we get to customer education on how to use, there is a lot to be done in the installation also, right? To ensure that the customer doesn't harm themselves in installing, and more importantly, installs it the right way, because there can be a significant breakage which can happen to that equipment itself if not handled properly. So how have you all been able to curb that? Because if you're doing it all India, even if you have partners, they may not perform at the right level of installing the hardware properly also. So what safety checks and quality checks have you all built in from an operations perspective?
So, like first of all, we do not encourage our users to install themselves, no matter how proficient they are, or no matter how many.
It's not like an IKEA. It's not like an IKEA infrastructure
Not
which
at all.
they can do. It is not DIY, right?
Not at all. So since it's not that the installation is complex, it's just that we want to sort of have that trust from the user that it's going to be safe once we sort of get it installed at their place. In terms of building the professionalism of the installers that are available out there pan-India, in the major metros, we have people on our payroll who are like regularly trained on the installations itself and also in our workshop. The partner with whom we have collaborated with works with many leading, furniture assembly companies. They work as a third-party contract for them. But even for them, we have identified master technicians who were trained under us. So we paid for their sort of commute to our workshop in our early days. And we ensured that they have like a 2-day-long boot camp, and after that they perform installations under our supervision. So they got an opportunity to shadow. They had a proper training in our workshop in Bangalore. And number 3, they for their initial set of installations, we had people with them guiding what can be done better. There were a lot of checks before we sort of deputed this directly to a third party. Even today, whenever any installation happens, there is a person who sort of oversees the entire installation part. There is a proper video call that happens, even if it is in a remote place in South India. We ensure that there is a proper video call happens, and we tick off all the boxes that are required for a sturdy installation. And so far, we've done more than 300 installations, and we haven't seen a single installation-related failure.
Nice.
And
So,
also,
Aman-
kudos to Rohit that he has built the installation process very simple. It's just like installing a TV.
Yeah.
Just 6 holes that go, get drilled into the wall, and that's it. So any
Right.
person who has some expertise in installing a TV or any other electronic equipment of that sort can perform this installation.
Wow, I didn't think that it's only that easy. And as we go through this conversation, it looks like you will be convincing me to buy it also, right?
I sincerely hope that happens.
You'll have a
Definitely.
friends and family discount.
Okay, we'll talk about that separately off air. So Aman, building on to this further, right? Now, as you run operations and as you drive operations, right? Uh, it's not just about ensuring that the installation happens, but the packaging and ensuring that it reaches the customer in the right place. And I can tell you, I have had situations where I've ordered these, when COVID hit, for example, we all ordered computer tables at our home, right? We all have been through that exercise. And I had two tables, and it happened both the time, and it was the same company which I ordered. I will not tell their name. Their pegs, below the table, the pegs which you put in, they were destroyed for some reason, right? And then you have that table which is the three legs are right and the fourth leg is always wobbling, as an example. And I'm sure each one of us have had these experiences with hardware, right? Now your equipment is fragile in that sense also, right? You can control your installation process, but you can't control the distribution process, right? Or the logistics part. So how have you ensured that while the packaging is good, but it doesn't get damaged in that sense, because these equipments are not cheap, right? It can really hit your bottom line. It can really take the P&L for a different level altogether. So how have you been able to curb that piece?
So actually, Anis, very good question, because like that is a piece that we are still solving. So while Rohit has custom designed packaging just for our machine, we don't get anything off the shelf that lets us package the device. So Rohit had to iterate multiple times to figure out what will be the right packaging which has the minimum probability of damage, and at the same time packaging is not too expensive, because it's at end of the day it's a use and throw kind of a situation.
Yes.
And the second aspect was finding the right logistics partner. So we can roar and celebrate the success story of D2C brides in India, but at the end of the day, those are very small products. And it's very easy to, the logistics infrastructure in India is very well built for small size products, right?
Yes.
However, when it comes to larger products, you could, each and every logistics partner that operates in India, we have tried all of them. And ultimately we were able to find one right logistics partner who ensured minimum number of breakages, right? So you would imagine the number of breakages that we had to go through initially to come to arrive at the right partner. Of course that our customer experience goes for a toss, because the moment they open the installer opens the box, he figures out that okay, there's damage, so we have to arrange for a replacement and then get it picked up from the customer's location. So we had to sort of go through that entire journey. And the thing is that the sales people in the logistics company are brilliant, right? So they'll make you believe that they will sort of handhold the entire packaging right from your workshop all the way to the customer's location, but that doesn't happen in 90% of the cases.
Yeah.
So we had to just do a hit and trial kind of a iteration cycle to arrive at the right partner.
And just to add to that, so you were telling about your experience that you received damaged product multiple times. So what did you do after you received that product? What is the exact next thing
I had to give up.
How did you reach out to them?
I reached out to them on phone numbers and emails, and then they were also saying, "Yaar, ek peg ke liye, then wo ek leg ke liye, do I send somebody?" I gave up, right? Then I, classic Indian jugaad, I put a cardboard below it to ensure that it doesn't wobble anymore, right?
Yeah. So what I was going to say is that we make sure that if anything of this sort happens, then the customer can reach out to us very seamlessly, and we can assure them that we will make this right. So immediately after someone places an order for the product, we make a WhatsApp group in which all three of us are there and some of our core members are there along with the customer. And then if anything of this sort happens, that the package is received in a damaged manner or there is any grievance of any kind, then we address it immediately. So that adds, that makes the customer experience right. Bhale hi wo perfect na ho, but wo sahi ho jata hai. And there have been many cases where we have thought to ourselves कि यार अगर मेरे को मिला होता Aroleap इस तरीके से, मैं कस्टमर होता तो मैं तो बहुत गुस्सा हो जाता और like possibly would have returned it.
Yeah.
But then what we realized is कि अगर customers की problems को immediately address करके solve कर दो, then they understand most of the times, and they accept ki how you're putting in the efforts and just make this right. And then that experience of just addressing everything on a WhatsApp group immediately, that adds a lot to the entire customer experience.
Yeah. Now, I would like to share, while I've been poking holes, it may come across I'm poking holes in your entire company, right? But I'll tell you the reason why I'm poking holes is I can tell you my own personal story in the last 1 decade of gyms across the board, right? And this is solving one of the biggest issue I see across the entire gym experience, right? And we are talking about customer experience here. I just had, and I will not take the name. It's a biggest brand. It's an India all brand, right? And now enough said. You will know who I'm talking about. They were doing two things, which was very disturbing for me as a consumer, right? Or a gym user, right? I had subscribed because they were closer to my house. And I would go there. And, today there are basic things you require. One is the safetiness, the cleanliness, but also other basic facilities, whether they have parking or all of that, right? Because it's not that close that I can walk it out. It was quite far, right? So I had to drive down. Now parking here and all of that. Now suddenly when they see that the gym is getting attention, they would change into a premium brand and they will ask you to pay more money. They literally had a, step up plan of sorts. They had one brand which is national, and then they have this premium brand. Then they would change that brand name to that same gym. They'll change it to a premium brand, and now they will ask the consumer, you have to pay more, and literally 4 times more, right? That's one thing. So then, I said, okay, enough. Maybe I thought this is one. Then I went to another one. I saw that issue, and third. So this is that one piece, right? So that's not acceptable to me as a consumer. Second is, when gyms open up, they go rara. You will see a lot of hustling, bustling. You will see cleanliness levels better, safetiness, and all of that. But once it starts going through, you would see that the equipments are in a bad shape. The experience is not at the same level. You are not. The trainers have left. People who were like, the guys who were bulked up, and they are walking around. You don't see them anymore. And the experience is really poor. And I've spent enormous amount of money in the last 10 years on the gyms, right? And that's where Aroleap really takes that to the level. It's a consistent experience. You can be at home. And that's why I have invested in equipments at home, because मेरा घर है, मेरा घर किधर कुछ खराब नहीं है. I can ensure that there is cleanliness. I don't have to go far out. All of that. So that's one thing which Aroleap really solves. And if people have been hearing this, I would say that that's where Aroleap really ensures that it's a consistent experience. You're not going to deviate, or you're not going to have a person who's going to bail out on you, your personal trainer, right? And today, personal trainers cost a lot. If I have to equip a personal trainer 5 days a week, I have to think twice. Like you said, probably it will cost me more, double than
definitely it will cost you more.
Yeah, it's not the time savings, by the way, Anurag. Just a tip I will give you. It's I can tell you, the gym which I go in, I'm not even talking about they have a platinum, gold, and silver trainers, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the gold level. That person charges 30. That category of trainers charge 30,000 rupees for 3 days in a week. 3 days in a week, per month.
Right.
Okay? Per month, right? Not even for 3 months or for a year, right?
Correct.
So if I have to spend 5 days with a personal trainer and ensure that everything is fine, to your point, that cost benefit जो customers देखते हैं, right? कि यार मैं तो gym membership में तो मेरे को इतना मिल जाएगा, मैं Aroleap में क्यों खर्चा करूँ? To your point, they're doing an apple to orange comparison. It's not an apple to apple comparison.
Yeah, right. You have to compare it with gym and a personal trainer.
Both combined.
Yeah.
Correct.
So whatever I have shared, do you all have any perspectives on that? Aman, are you able to explain that to consumers today? Are you seeing that consumers aligning to that thought?
So actually, Manish, someone who comes and argues with us on the price point, comparing it to a gym subscription, we want them to try it out themselves and then come back to us, because it's too big a barrier for us to sort of solve for them. I think the only thing that we can option is like we have easy EMI options, etc. But before they experience the product firsthand, it's hard for us to explain them the value of the product if they're just hell-bent on the price as such. But people who have tried out everything and then they have figured out that, okay, I want to set up something at home, it's a very easy sort of bet for us. We just give them a demo and they are sort of sold, you know.
Okay. So talking about demo, these demos only available in Bangalore, or a customer can get a demo in every major metros today?
Right. So we have two things. We are available for offline demos in Bangalore and Bombay. And
Where exactly in Bombay for personal interest?
So we have two locations. One, we have a partner location in Lower Parel and another partner location in Thane.
Okay.
Right. So we have like two locations in Bombay and two locations in Bangalore as well. But as far as demos for other parts of the country are concerned, we give them a live demo in which, you know, one of our colleagues sort of gives a full rundown of the device, answers any questions, also performs any exercises that the user feels might not be very comfortable on the device, etc. And over and above, we have a 30-day no questions asked return policy since inception, right? So it's not like as we scaled, we did not change this policy, because we were confident that once the user tries it out themselves, there are not going to be any returns. And we have sort of experienced that. We did not really face, much returns. So that sort of gives an initial comfort to the user that, okay, hey, I can try this out. And even on the 29th day, if I feel that it's not serving my purpose, I can always return it.
You said all types of equipment, all types of exercises possible, which they would do in a gym. How would somebody do a pull-up in your equipment?
Right. So I think the right way to frame is that you can train all the muscle groups of a human body. So something similar to pull-up would be a lat pull-down, right? So you can do a lat pull-down by putting both the arms up and attaching a barbell and performing that movement.
Now, when we started, just before recorded, Rohit had the Aroleap behind him, right? And I could see that, and I can still see that a little bit. Now, it's not just Aroleap, right? I can see that there is a bar, and I have seen that, right? I am a person who's doing research. Oh, khali Aroleap nahi aata hai. You have to have those, the grips and all of that, right? Which you get, which you stick it around that. So, ये जो छोटी-छोटी चीजें होती है, ये जो छोटा-छोटा सोचना, like ये thoughts कहाँ से आए थे when you all were building it? And Rohit, probably the question is to you, like, okay, you will build something, but ये खाली barbell डाल के या grips डाल के नहीं होने वाला. You'll need to give that experience that there are different pieces involved. So ये ideas कहाँ से आएगी?
Yeah, I mean, the point, as I said, like the initial product जो हम लोग दे रहे थे, the offering has to be complete because people are going to compare it with whatever there is out there. So you cannot just say कि digital weight say you can do half of the muscle groups on this and half you can do somewhere. It has to be a holistic experience. It has to be a complete experience. ताकि nobody will question digital weight. That was the initial problem statement, right? कि you should feel it is at par with the gym or better than the gym. There's no option of like a subpar to a gym. Okay, it should not feel like a compromise. Whatever price point we come out at, it is going to be a premium price point. So it should not feel like a compromise. So initially when we were selling, like even now, like all the accessories and everything was added on when we were selling initial units. We said, yeah, this is a whole bundle that you can buy and it will solve your entire problem. Because we understood if you like, you need all those things to have a very good experience. So that is where it came up. What all was required for a good experience, we sort of added on to begin with.
Just taking this to a very different level now. Now you all have got funded. Okay? You all have now investors dancing on your head. Sorry, I will say that. Hota hai, right? So where is the future of Aroleap? Where are you all trying to now take it to the next level? And
so far, like luckily for us, our investors are not dancing on our head. They are good investors. They are not bothering us at all. They seem to be on board with whatever plans we have for the future. So we have been lucky there. Our plans for the future are definitely right now, say we came up with Aroleap X. That is solving one problem for one category of people. So these are very specific people who want to work out at home. They know strength training is important for them. They are looking for something, an alternate to gym. And these are the people buying a home. But in India, there is definitely a very big other segment, which are people with some kind of a lifestyle disease. So for them specifically, exercising at home is not the problem. For them, a problem is something completely different, and exercise falls in that category, which will help them solve that problem.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you want to lose weight, or you have, as you said, like people, if you have hypertension, if you have type 2 diabetes, whatever that might be, can we build solutions around there to solve those problems? Maybe it might come in as a bundle where with Aroleap you add a few more things and then provide that complete bundle. That is one direction that we want to explore. Then second is coming up with more affordable products for sure. So going in that direction, like future there specifically in India is going to be in that direction.
And today, I'm not an advisor or a trade person, and people will be wondering, I'm not to y'all. But the other issue is today, lack of good quality gyms, right? Going back to my point earlier. The issue is space availability, right? With Aroleap, y'all can actually disrupt the entire gym space, right? A person with a garage, right, can install 4 Aroleaps and can start a gym, right? It's just that they will have to have time slots, but it can still be done, right? I'm just thinking like if I just take a small garage and probably put 4 Aroleaps, I can have a gym of my own and have customers coming in and signing up, right? I don't need to even have a trainer. I just need somebody who can just teach them how to use the equipment, and that's it. The trainer is there.
Okay.
Going back to Anurag's point, the person trainer is there, software built, and you can actually build gyms on your own. Is that the plan?
Yes. So like you gave an example of a gym experience that you had, right? But in everybody's defense, gym business is very hard to crack, right? In India specifically, where the amount that you're charging per month to the customer is relatively lower than what you could charge outside India.
Yeah.
Right. So gym experience, like that business is very tough when you want to build it with traditional gym equipment. So I'll give you an example. Like my sister, she lives in Riva. Right.
Yeah.
Now, my cousin sister. Now, the only option that she has for a gym, like there is not a single gym in her city which is a good gym that you would consider a good gym. The only option that she has is like one gold gym which is very far away from her place, and they do not even have a lady trainer. Like she does not feel comfortable working with a male trainer. Yeah, men. So she wants some lady trainer. That option is not available. And to be fair, it doesn't make sense to build like a 1 crore, 2 crore setup in Riva where footfall might not be so high.
Yeah.
Right? It's not sustainable business-wise. So then something like this makes a lot of sense. Like assuming everybody is working in with good intention, that there is something that is lacking because of which good gym experience are not possible. So that is why we feel that Aroleap can actually add a lot of value. Where you can say have a micro gym concept. You start off with say just 4 Aroleap X, you put it in a room and you start the gym. If the footfall increases, if the demand is more, you keep adding more pods. So everybody can come, they have their own center to work out with. It is very clean and hygienic wise, it is way more better. You even if you are in Riva or you are in any other city, you will get the best trainers from Bangalore training you, and the software that is personalizing everything for you. So that is like the ultimate goal, right? You are able to perform that, like give that first class experience in every single city in India.
Yeah. Now this reference comes from Peloton. When Peloton launched, it was largely for home. And now you see Peloton devices. I travel a lot. You see them in hotels now. You see them not in your room, but you see them in the gyms of the hotels. You see them in the gyms also now, Peloton devices. So Peloton is no longer at-home device. It's also a gym device which people are using these days, right? Even Mirror is trying to get there, but it is still not there. But that's what is happening with Peloton. There's one thing which I have, you see that I have asked you all questions from all directions. One thing I would like to say and commend you all is that you all are old souls in young bodies. So great job, by the way, to each one of you. And kudos to each one of you in many ways. And I know I have taken a lot of your time today, but thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast, the 3 of you. And I can see the way you all build on each other. I would say the 3 of you independently may look different, but when you all come together, it comes as one unique story. So great job on that. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you all on the show, and really glad to have you all. And you all can say you all have convinced me into 99%. That 1% is left. That 99% you all have been able to convince me to be a buyer of Aroleap.
I'll call you right after the call. I'll call you for that 1%.
So send the coupon code right away.
No, on that note, guys, thanks a lot for your time. It's an absolute pleasure for having you all on the show. And if any consumer wants to reach out to you all, I'll leave your details out down so that if they want to hear about the family discount, they can definitely do that.
Sure thing.
Yeah.